Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Run That Back. You know, we have our second edition of Bobby Sharp Talk, and we have an all-star cast today. You know, outside of my girl, Tamika Dixon, the WNBA great, current business owner and future Hall of Famer out of Linden, New Jersey. I have Danan Hughes, a former wide receiver who played for in the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs and Major League Baseball with the Royals. He played at the University of Iowa, and he is currently a football analyst and commentates the weekly Missouri Valley Football Conference Game of the Week. And I got winded when I said that. And then we have D. Brown, former Major League left fielder who batted left-handed and threw right for the Kansas City Royals in 1988 till 2004. And then he landed the Oakland A's in 2007. And then everybody knows I always finish up the show with Sammy Sosa, and I think it was something in the atmosphere because it brought me Carlos Sosa, former Major League outfielder who recorded a 9-year career in baseball with the San Diego Padres and the San Francisco Giants. He is from the Dominican Republic, Santo Domingo. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So we're going to start off. Danan, I got you back two weeks in a row. Welcome to Sunday Brunch, where we mainly discuss basketball, but we love other sports, and we have an all-star cast today, of ballers today, which is going to make for a great Mother's Day show. I want to say happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. We're going to start with Danan. Please introduce yourself and give us a glimpse of where you are now.
Well, I'm glad to be back. I guess I didn't mess up last week, so you invited me back. That's cool. But, yeah, I'm just happy to be here. And as you said, a former NFL football player, played wide receiver for 6 years in the NFL, ended my career in the late 90s. Prior to playing in the NFL, I was drafted and played 2 years in minor league baseball with the Milwaukee Brewers, and then played both sports in college at the University of Iowa. So I've known you all my life, Adrian. Adrian, for all y'all on here, was one of my idols growing up. Watching her do damage on the basketball court kind of incentivized me to work hard and to follow my dreams. And it wasn't on the basketball court, but I was able to do baseball and football. And I will say, Adrian, this is, just like last week, this is kind of an honor for me to be on this panel because I used to watch, as former professional athletes, we don't really get a chance to be fans a lot. You know what I mean? We're always playing, and people, they want to be fans of us, but we don't really get a chance to be fans. But you, obviously, I was a huge fan of from basically a child. Tamika, when she was killing people at KU and doing damage in the WNBA, I was cheering like a fan. And then Carlos and T, back here in Kansas City as professional baseball players. Baseball is my heart. You can see all my baseball stuff back here. Baseball is the number one thing I love. I coach baseball. I teach baseball. I push football aside. So this is really cool to be on this panel with two accomplished baseball players as well.
Absolutely. Talk a little bit about where you are now, what it is that you're doing right now.
Well, I've been very fortunate that once I got out of sports, I still was able to get one foot in by doing broadcasting. So I broadcast for college baseball, college football, and college basketball. I did the College World Series a couple of years ago. I do the Big Ten Network, so I do all their baseball. And then I do Big Ten football as well as, like you said, the Missouri Valley Conference football game of the week. And then the Chiefs here in Kansas City. The Super Bowl winning Chiefs here in Kansas City. I do the pregame and postgame shows for them each and every week. So I stay busy. I got my own podcast, do some radio shows as well. So still getting my sports fix. And then during the day, I work at a bank at U.S. Bank as a manager in the mortgage department. So I stay busy, but I've been blessed.
Yeah. You definitely stay busy, and that's the way to be right now, is to stay busy so you don't go stir crazy. Most people are in the house and they're not handling it well at all, and that's why you have don't allow for it to do you. You have to do the time, and and make it worthy. You come out on the other side better than you were before. Tamika and I had this conversation before, lengthy conversations about just finding who you are, and I know Tamika had the question about where you were as far as what you're doing. You want to talk to him about that? Me?
Yes, Dana. The one thing that I always like to ask athletes are is about the transition process, because basically a lot of us, when we transition from athlete to civilian, basically there's a difficulty there. So for you, what was that transition process like? Was it a difficult process, or did you have some difficulty moving into the next stage of your life?
It wasn't real difficult for me because I made it cut and dry. I was with the Saints. Was a free agent with the Saints. I got released, and I had 4 kids, married. We had moved down there, and I went back home, prayed with my wife, and I got a peace of mind. Like the Bible says, a peace that surpasses all understanding. I got a peace of mind that was like, it was done. I was done. And I
Okay.
called my agent. I said, hey, thanks for all the work. Don't call me again. And literally, I said that. And I said, I don't want to be tempted. I don't want to be zigzagging all over, trying out for this place. And I just want to move on. So I came back to Kansas City and I made a call to the Chiefs. And I said, hey, you got anybody I can talk to about a career? And they linked me up with somebody in the banking world. And, 20 years later, I'm still doing it and have climbed the ladder in the mortgage banking world, and it allows me the opportunity, like I said earlier, to get my fix in coaching and being part of baseball and doing the broadcasting and stuff like that. So I know a lot of guys. I'm sure all of us know a lot of people, women and men, that spend a lot of time trying to get back in, spend a lot of money, spend a lot of energy, and for me, it wasn't that way. I was pretty cut and dry, and when it was time to go, and I've been fortunate. Got 5 kids, 3 of them, one, two, 4 of them. My bad, 4 of them are college athletes. Uh,
Okay.
yep.
Count
So
back there.
that we've been keeping that going. Sports is all part of our house, a part of our family. Just like Adrian, you and Tamika know, that's how we grew up. You ain't no
Hmm.
such thing as idle time. Get your butt out there and do something. So that's how
Absolutely.
my kids roll, and we've been fortunate.
Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you.
absolutely. That was a great answer, and that prompts me to bring D in. I mean, you were a former major league left fielder, and you know how hard it is to stay in the league, not just get in the league, but to be able to stay in there and have longevity. Talk to us about your walk and where you are right now.
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback over Danan, man, I was a first round pick in 1996 out of high school. Um, I had signed to the University of Maryland to play football and baseball. I was, I'm the opposite of Danan. Danan said like he went back to baseball, his love. Actually, football was always my first love, and I actually took a recruiting trip out there towards your way, then and out there in Iowa back in 90, mid 90 some 95. And Iowa was one of my choices out there. But I chose Maryland to play 2 sports there. Signed February of my senior year to a national letter of intent. And then I got drafted first round in June out of high school. And I chose to go the professional route of baseball. I got my first call up in 1998. I know I played 16 years professionally, up and down parts of 8 years
Nice.
in the major league. So just what you just said of staying in the major leagues, it's that was the biggest hurdle for me, and that's what they always said. Once you sign professionally, is getting there is the easy part, staying is the hard part, getting into the league, and so. After 8 years, up and down, 16 years total, I finished my career in Japan, actually, way out in Japan.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
yeah, in 2011. And I don't know if y'all remember, in 2011 they had that big tsunami earthquake thing, going
Hmm.
on out
Yeah,
there. I don't know if you remember that, but
absolutely.
yeah, so they were threatening our contracts. Long story short, I came back to the States for a little bit. They were going to take my money, so I had to go back out there, finish my, thing. But I knew from that point on, I was just burnt out from playing, and I started then mentally transitioning myself to while I was out in Japan, knowing that was going to be it for my, my last year. I was still fairly young, 32, I think at the time, 16 years going at it. And I started getting into learning more on the real estate. I already had bought some properties while I was playing. When I retired, and I got into once I retired, I went straight into real estate hardcore. I thought I was ready. Still dealt with depression. Still dealt with,
Hmm.
now I'm home now with my lady and my daughter every day. Now is a lot different when you're traveling on the road.
Yes, sir.
So you know how that go, right?
Yep.
So that was a whole transition right there, being home all the time and not traveling. And it was about a good 2 year road. I was watching and I'm sorry to take up all the time, but it was a 2 year road, 2 year time frame, and I was listening to on 60 Minutes, the tight end from the Brent Jones from the 49ers. He was talking
Mhm.
about his transition. He talked about how every athlete deals with that whole transition of playing and retirement. They said they call it the wilderness period. And
Yeah.
I for 2 years, even though I knew what I wanted to do, I still springtime dealing with the fresh cut, the grass. Then you know how that goes, man. When
Uh-huh.
that grass is
Growing the
cut in
grass.
springtime, getting ready for spring training, and the shakes of like, man. And but I was upset. I couldn't watch the game no more for about 2 years. Couldn't, I didn't touch the game. I didn't touch no part of the game of baseball for 4 years, almost 4 years.
Huh.
And I've got into the youth baseball space. Now, I've turned down some pro jobs, but I finally kind of got over myself after being 4 or 5 years in the youth space. I just crossed back over into the professional rankings again, and now I'm coaching now with the in the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. And now we're dealing with this. So my first year back in 10 plus years in the pro game. Now we're dealing with the virus, but it was a good, it was time for me to kind of get back into what I know.
Wow, wow. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a nice
Mm-hmm.
journey. I wasn't going to stop you, brother. I was going to let you go on and on and on because your
I ain't
story
want to
is
take up all the time,
intriguing.
man. I'm sorry. I ain't want
You
to take up all
know,
your time. Man.
no, no. I mean, the kids need to hear it. They need to understand,
Mm-hmm.
what the walk is,
Yeah.
and it's not enough to talk the talk, but you have to walk the walk. And I know this prompts me to go to Carlos because Carlos is from out of Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic, and talk about seeing your dream from a distance and then making it all the way over and coming out. And so, Carlos, I want to say welcome to the show. And you had a 9 year career. Uh, talk to us a little bit about that and what it is that you're doing right now.
Thank you for for having me in this meeting, everyone. And from Dominican Republic is hard. Everybody play baseball. Cow go to Dominican to see all the player, and then you don't go to the school. We just play baseball all day. In Dominican baseball, we play baseball every day in
Yes.
every city. So this is the process is hard because we gotta we gotta focus because the competition in Dominican is really hard. We got like too many good baseball players. So we one of the scout, Rick Ragazzo, find me play in the street in 2001. He find me play baseball in the street, and he invited me to the San Francisco Giant complex down in Dominican Republic. So okay, I go. And I went to the complex, and I looking really good, do a couple good swing, and couple hard, running hard from home plate to first, and he signed me right away. So he only seen me twice, and this is
You
my
had some
history
game.
about, yeah, so this is the baseball. And then I come to Arizona, so from San Francisco Giants. So my first time, fly to another country. This is that year, so I never be out of my country. And
Yes.
then we play 9 year minor league system, and 7 year from San Francisco and 2 year for San Diego Padres. And after that, 2012, I got relieved from the Padres, and Randy Smith, he's give me the hitting coach job for 3 years in San Diego Padres. So I
Nice.
started working in Arizona. So it's hard because the first day I get to Arizona, I see a couple of pitchers throw like 93, 94, and I told the guys, the hitter, hey guy, you gotta be ready, man. So this is not hard. So one of the coaches come to me and say, hey Carlos, you coming from AA, man. Everybody throw like 95 plus. So you gotta be, you know, he maybe don't see 92 hard, but he throw hard. For rookie ball, he throw hard. So, all the things like that, but I focus every year, in putting good numbers in my career and working hard that in Dominican Republic and winter ball, and I play independent ball too. I play in Mexico and play in Venezuela. I play in Colombia. I play in Dominican and winter ball. So I play baseball all the world, and 9 years and 3 more years in independent ball is something like amazing. I don't make it the big league. It's hard to make it, but I feel glad because I played for a long time baseball, and not too many guys can do that.
Mhm.
Woo. Absolutely.
Mhm.
My mouth was open when you just kept going on in
Yeah,
Venezuela and Argentina and Spain and I was just waiting for all of these places to roll out. It gets me excited, because we get the opportunity to travel and
Yeah.
see the world just because
yeah.
of sports. And I know you're home and high back there, Tamika. Talk about when you were playing overseas and maybe you have a question for somebody on the panel.
Yes. So, as we all know, being able to play in other countries and explore other cultures was an amazing thing for me to be able to do. And also bringing my family over so they can witness and share in some of those experiences was, one of the memories that I always, continue to think about and keep with me because the experiences and the people that I've met over the years doing that, um, amazing. But I have a couple of questions, and I want to, Carlos, thank you, but I want to start with D, because and you and Dana were two sport athletes, and you know,
Absolutely.
we know how difficult it was, um, just to excel in one sport. So can you, either one of you, we can start with D and also Dean, and can you kind of elaborate on that, being a two sport athlete and, just excelling in both sports, because that's rare and unheard of, definitely nowadays. You had a couple of guys that did it, back then, when you guys were playing, but man, that's amazing.
Well,
Share some of those experiences.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Tamika, I did not play football professionally or in college. Danny could
Oh,
talk about that.
oh, okay. I thought you were
I
a two sport
signed
Hey,
athlete
I
too.
signed to play.
Tamika, don't
I
let
was
him try
sponsored
to
by the
be
high
all
school.
humble. Don't let him try to be all humble. Some-
Yeah,
D
yeah.
would D has D
I ain't
owns a
play.
state record. He owns a state record in rushing in New York. He scored what he
Okay,
scored
okay.
75 touchdowns. To be
Let
real,
me know
I'm
your stuff,
here.
Danny.
It's just us. You ain't got to be all humble now.
I'm just saying. That's high school. Everybody nice in high school. You know what I'm saying? So I never.
Hey, still, man,
Dana
still.
did what I really wanted to do. I used to tell all my people, you give me one game of football or game 7 of the World Series, I'll take the one game in the NFL all day.
Wow.
That's my dream that I
Yeah,
grew up wanting to do. But I was a Bo Jackson, Dion fan growing up. Those are my guys. I wanted to be a two sport. But because I got drafted by the Royals, I tried to maneuver and let me play two sports. But the Royals was not having it. They're like, yo, Bo Jackson just broke his hip 4 or 5 years earlier, and we that's
that
too
ain't
fresh in
happening.
our mind. You cannot play two sports. Then you gonna have to pick and choose. And I obviously chose baseball. So Dana could talk to you more on that. But yeah, football has always been my first love. Baseball
Gotcha.
kind of chose me. You know what I'm saying? And
Okay. Okay.
so, Dana, you could talk more about that.
Well, D was running over people in New York, so I'll just talk about what I was doing in Jersey. Yeah. I will say though, I mean, Tamika, I get that question a lot. Have gotten that question a lot about how difficult it is. And you know what's interesting? I was, listening to Carlos's story. All the time I'm thinking, okay, yeah, it's kind of tough, but it's something that we've done since we were 5 or 6 years old, so you don't ever think about it as tough. But then I was listening to Carlos, I'm like, a whole country only plays one sport, and you're competing with the whole country of people that worship one sport, play every single day, like he says, for the opportunity to come out of that country to the U.S. and sign a major league contract. That,
Crazy.
to me, is more difficult than any two sports that I could ever play. So I want to give props to Carlos for that, because that's an amazing story to have one country that loves one sport so much that every single boy plays it, and yet you were still the cream of the crop to get pulled out and play 9 years of professional baseball. So props to you, man. That's an awesome
Absolutely.
testimony,
Absolutely.
Thank you.
and living the dream, a dream of so many, of a whole country. Both of you guys live my dream in baseball, but for me, like I said, Tamika, it was normal. Like, and I will say, from the college level, playing two sports in college, it kept me out of trouble, and it kept me on my grades, because when there was no off season, so I had to be like, my grades had to be good all the way through. Some guys in football, they might slack off in the spring and then take some summer classes and build it back up. I didn't have that luxury, just like y'all in college basketball, because the season goes between two semesters. You don't have the luxury of slacking off. So that was I just rode it all the way through. I grew up playing three sports, and I got a chance to play two sports in college and two sports in the pros. And like you guys said, seeing different parts of the country, you guys got to see different parts of the world. I got to see different parts of the country. I played minor league baseball in Helena, Montana, and well, we snowed out in July. So I gotta tell you, beautiful country. I would have never seen it before. I would have never seen it in my life, but I got a chance to see, Salt Lake City and Alberta, Canada, and all those. You guys know those roads of the minor league bus trips. Some of the most cherished times of my life was during that time, but it was all because I love two sports, and baseball was my favorite.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible.
Yes. And
And
Carlos, just to kind of piggyback off of some of the things that Danon was saying, you had a 9-year career, and we all know what the grind is to get ready for, every season, come back and try to add something to your game to stay relevant for the next year and keep competing. For you, what was your challenge every year? How was that grind for you? 9 years, so you've done it for a long time. What was that grind like for you?
For me, that I think about, before the season every year is get ready for the spring trainer,
Mhm.
prepare mentally and physical, and in
Mhm.
my country,
Mhm.
stay healthy, and rest, sleeping well, because it's long season, spring trainer. After the spring training come, the season, the minor league season. After that, I back to my country and play winter ball. So I gotta be in chase. I can playing around, because I play
Right.
baseball in the United States for 7 months, and after that I go to Dominican Republic for 3 months and a half in winter ball. I gotta be, for me, I gotta be every day. Rest, eat well, and stay, safe, sleeping well, because it's hard. Dominican, we play baseball all year.
Yeah. So it was a grind year round for you. No rest.
Yeah, yeah, no rest. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Can I ask a question to y'all ladies?
yes, absolutely.
I know it's your goodie. I know it's your, your thing. And Tamika, I know y'all, but it's very few opportunities that I speak with professional athletes. So I got a young daughter myself. Um, she's a 12-year-old tennis player, but she's
Wow.
extremely good at basketball.
Okay.
Um, but we kind of chose the last 2 years. I ain't gonna say I do. Mommy chose to strictly concentrate on tennis. We did it for the financial, long term of things. But how y'all feel about? I speak to a lot of parents. I deal with this on the baseball side, but I know my daughter, given the time that she spends on tennis, she gives half the time with basketball that she does with tennis. I believe she'll be a D1 athlete in basketball. How do I? She's mentioned again this year, a couple months ago, that that she wants to think about going back and playing basketball. It's been 2 years. She's since she's played, but I play a little bit with her. What do you I mean, y'all played around the world with the game of basketball. I enjoy the game. I can teach it better than tennis. I enjoy tennis too, but from the long term effects, financially, you can't beat tennis compared to basketball. And I mean, tennis, you're gonna make a lot more money on the women's side. How do y'all? What would be your advice to me? Um, knowing that I know deep down in my heart of hearts, I believe she loves basketball more than tennis. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
What would be your advice to a dad who, in my household, you would never think that I play professional sports? You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm
Go
saying?
ahead, Meek. You go first, Meek.
What I would say is, what does she love to do?
I
Because
I I
ultimately,
think it's basketball.
yeah,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Mhm.
ultimately that's gonna be the thing that matters most. Because if she could love tennis, but if she there's a special type of love that you gotta have to excel at the highest level. So if she just likes tennis but loves basketball, I would have her compete in both sports and let her choose as to which one she wants to perform and excel in. Because ultimately, you got to have, there's just got to be a certain type of, there's a difference when you like something and when you love something. Because when you love something, you're going to put
Mm,
everything into it to be the
mm,
best that you can be.
mm,
If she just liked tennis and she good at it, I was good at track, so I ran it, but
mm,
I did it because I know I needed that piece for basketball. You know what I
right,
mean? So
right.
it has to be, first of all, what she wants to do and what she loves. Don't worry about the money piece, because if she good enough, she's gonna do that. She's gonna make that. That's gonna be okay. But it has to be something that's within her, because that's the only way she's going to excel to the highest level. If y'all just
Mm,
pushing her tennis, and she don't really love it, you
right,
know, I
right.
don't know if she'll get to that highest level.
We finding out that now. It's
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah. I agree with that 100. And um, I would say to you, no worries, because
Yeah.
she's in shape. Okay,
Hmm.
she plays tennis, so her lateral movement is bazangas. I already know. And if she's long, I mean, she's got all of the same movement that that mimics basketball. You're cutting the lateral movement. Thrusting forward, backwards, swinging. That swing. That's how you go to get rebounds. So she has a lot of the same movement that mimics the game. So
Hmm.
every sport has an off-season sport, off-season
Hmm.
sport. So just like Tamika was saying, you know, basketball may be her love. Tennis could be the off-season sport, because it keeps her in shape and it keeps her in that movement. Some other sports that work well with basketball is also volleyball, or playing baseball. Anything that's mimicking the sport where your cardio, because we exchange cardio a lot, so it's not a sport that you would want to, like certain sports, you don't want to like play basketball and then go bowling. You're not making
Hmm.
any sense. So she's gonna be good in that. And my first friend at Old Dominion. She was badass, excuse me, in tennis. Her name was Megan Rooney, and I used to go and watch her play, and she was just a fantastic athlete. So, with that being said, keep her doing the things that she loves to do, but encourage her if she likes to do other things too, and try not to make it a tug of war between your wife says she's got to go to Yale and you want her to go to Cornell, you know. So it's just like, let her, just like Tamika said, let that natural response from her come out, and then you guys give her all of the energy towards that. So if she chooses tennis, give her all of the energy towards that. But yeah, you can go ahead and you can play other sports. I see you over there nodding your head, Danan, to that, and it leads me into the next question that I was going to talk about, because you guys, it's supposed to be baseball season. A little while ago we're supposed to be finishing up basketball season, you guys, and then all of a sudden, now we're going into the draft for football. Now here it is, baseball, and everybody's dealing with this virtual situation that we've been thrust into. D, you were talking about they may not even do the D League. There's kids out there right now that are going, oh boy, oh my God, I was looking at today myself, like, what kind of tips can I give kids right now that are working out, because people are really stressing and they got all of these how-tos out there. What COVID tips, Danan, can you give to people to work out? How could they work out when they're working out in their backyard and you can hit football and baseball? Websites they should go to. I know basketball, we have to go register on NCAA. So that we can get, have our number so that we can even play in college if we want to now. So talk about some things like that, Danan.
Well, I think I get asked that question. I got kids that I coached baseball that are in the minors now. D, you probably heard down in Florida, Monte Harrison with the Marlins. He's
Okay.
he's like number 2 prospect. He's in AAA. He's supposed to be in the majors this year.
Nice. Okay.
Good player. He's like my son. He's here in Kansas City. His brother plays for the Bulls, Shaquille Harrison.
Wow. Wow.
A very athletic family. The best athletes I've ever seen are those 2 kids, and I've seen a lot. Obviously, seen a lot. But as far as the workout, one, I always try to instill in kids nowadays, where everything seems to be about AAU tournaments and travel baseball tournaments. It's always about games. Get back to work. Get back to grinding. When I was growing up, I had a tee. My high school coach gave me a tee. I still got it to this day. And I had 4 baseballs. And I would hit the baseballs into my fence. My parents hated me. I hit it into my fence all the time. Just those same 4 baseballs off the tee. So I tell kids, just go out and grind with what you have access to. You don't have to spend a whole bunch of money on all kind of craziness, especially during this time. You got opportunities with conditioning. There's so much that the internet provides as far as workouts or conditioning or ladder drills or, running out in the street, running up hills, just those type of things for maintaining. I feel so bad for kids nowadays right now during this time. D, you and Carlos, I'm sure you guys know kids in the minors, probably kids back home in Dominican Republic that are waiting in the wings. They're chomping at the bit for an opportunity, and now it's just kind of quieted. College kids not knowing if they're going to have another year of eligibility. Draft, the Major League draft coming up. They said I was drafted. The first time I was drafted by the Padres was in the 52nd round. Then I was drafted in the 3rd round the next year. But there's usually, I don't know, was it 50 rounds now? They're talking about only 5 rounds this year for the draft. So how many kids are going to miss out on opportunities that they can't control? So you feel for them, and there's no one way to do it. It's just got to be about the grind. It's got to be about the work. Because to me, when everything else is out of your hands and everything else fails, you can look in the mirror and say, I grinded. Ain't nobody outworked me. I might not have got this shot. I might have been in a bad situation, but I look in the mirror, I can see somebody that I'm proud of that worked. Go to work and grind and let everything else unfold how it's going to unfold.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%, Nez. You know, you may not have a ball in America, but you can get out there and you can run. You could go run the streets. You can go run hills. You can run uphill. You can run downhill. I see you over there nodding, D. Give some kids some tips. I see a lot of kids in parking lots, with this social distancing, they trying, you really can't stay that far apart from each other, but they got their masks on doing what they're supposed to do. Some kid that's in a park right now, that's down at Hudson County Park. There's some kid that's in a parking lot right now, a gutted out parking lot. What kind of things can they do?
I look at it like this. Just piggyback on what Dana said. It ain't like that in a lot of places. Like, sad but true. New York, LA, Jersey. Those areas are real. Condensed for a lot of people. But most of the country is, opening up. I know down here, Florida, Atlanta, Midwest. Everybody ain't being close, but I know I ran travel teams, showcase teams in Memphis, Tennessee area for many years, and they're opening up in about 2 weeks. They going. You know what I'm saying? They starting their little practicing now, and they start playing games. And the biggest issue I have with that is, I know Dana could tell you, and it's like AAU, but showcase baseball is a lot of money involved with youth baseball right now, and these tournament directors, and there's a lot of money to be made, and parents are paying $1,500 to $5,000 a year to play for each kid to play on these teams. So these teams, the organization leaders have to put them to work and get the parents' money out there working. And so what's going to happen is these kids are, been chilling at the house or halfway throwing, and they're going to be forced to go out there and play in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and they're not physically ready. You know what I'm saying? It's basketball is conditioning aspect and all of that. Baseball, yeah, you could kind of go out there and stand out, in the 7, 8, 9 innings a day, but your arm has to be in shape. You got to get your ribs, your wrist, and everything used to swinging. And what's going to happen, because they're 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids, and they halfway been working, they think, they're invincible. They could just go right out there and play. That's when you're going to suffer arm injuries and stuff like that, just from a fatigue factor. So what I've been telling kids, and I've been having coaches, I do a little Facebook Live show just like you guys doing right now. I bring on college coaches. Dana, man, you may need to come on, Carlos too, but I bring on coaches, mainly college coaches, and they giving, instead of me talking about, hey, this is what you need to do, most of the college coaches is just like, yo, do something. Go out there, do these sprints, just like you saying, I'm saying, Goody, just, go out there. If there's a parking lot, run. You can run sprints 10, 15, run 10 car lengths, or 20 car lengths if you, on the block, or go on the field and run your sprints, practice the base field. I just did a little film yesterday, my little program out on a beautiful high school baseball field right here. I found right here in Florida that I'm at. I ain't from here, but I found that field. And I said, damn, I'm going to come out here myself. And I did my little filming out here. And I was like, if I'm a kid, it was 4 or 5 beautiful fields out here. Nobody out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it was a couple of parents out there getting their work. So there's opportunities to get some work in. You know what I'm saying? You could do the social distancing. You ain't got to be right here with baseball. You can be 20, 30, 40 yards away, getting your work in. Ground balls, coaches can stay distant. So, it's no excuse for the summer, regardless if they have a minor league season or not. You got to be putting in your work. And then when you do work, make sure, you put enough, getting your arm and your legs and stuff in shape so you don't come out with injuries, because it's going to be a condensed season. A lot of decisions are going to be made. Like Dana said, 5 rounds. You got people coming in, and guys they're missing a year of progressing, of getting better. And a lot of decisions are going to be made based off of a small sample size. And a lot of guys are going to lose jobs next year based off of a half a year to not even getting on a chance to play on the field. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the nature of the beast, right now. A lot of kids are going to miss out on a lot of opportunities right now.
Wow. You want to speak to that, Dana? Because, I know that, here in Bayonne, we have 2 or 3 different baseball leagues, right? Little league baseball. And, it's going to be crunch time. And I already heard about, how, these coaches are fighting over kids. And we come from a baseball town. And so, how important is it going to be for these kids to really be ready to hit the ground running, because there's not going to be time for teaching. You're going to have to hit the ground running. So talk to some things that they can do to make sure that they're the ones that stand out during that day.
Yeah, I think that you use what you got. And, I saw some drills on TV where kids were doing ground ball reaction drills by throwing rubber balls off of buildings and standing up close, and glove hand, trap hand type of fielding plays and backhand drills. You can do your shuffles, your base running drills, like Dee was talking about. I want to put Carlos on the spot a little bit with that question, Adrian, because my perception, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, in Dominican Republic is that it's probably something similar, where there's not a lot of access to the great equipment and websites and drills and all that. What during this time, how would those kids be progressing too? Because they're almost in a more dire position than a lot of kids here in the U.S., because that's the only sport they play. That's the only opportunity they have.
Downstairs, Dominican, I'm not here right now, but what I hear all the minor league players doing is like, couple this guy calling, hey, tomorrow we go to 10 a.m., go to the beach, go running in the beach. So, okay, next day you gotta go to the park and let's do, bring a K and wanna do like hitting T. So this is what the kids doing right now. So, one of the couple kids, get together talking about, okay, let's go hit tomorrow, let's go running tomorrow, let's go to the, workout tomorrow. So because everything is, shut down for the virus. So, but that's what the kid doing right now. Just getting couple, 3 or 2, just throwing tomorrow. Let's throw baseball, like for 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's what the kid doing right now, because right now it's hard, to get into the stadium, to to the gym. So that's what the guy doing right now, just working every day in different things. Sometimes go to the beach, sometimes go to the field, hitting, sometimes throwing, sometimes I hitting ground ball to my friend, and my friend after that hitting to me. So just like that.
I think that's the
I know
key.
one thing. I know one thing. I'm sorry, Dan. I know one thing about being in Dominican. That one little, I went out there to win the ball. They the most they built for this type of time. They the most resourceful type kids I ever seen. The little bit of time I spent out there, I remember one time they was out there in the ball field, and it was a ball field, grass, barely a little bit of grass. Edges of the grass had it was the hood. So it was, cut grass, and it was glass everywhere. It was whatever. But I saw these kids, when we was young, Dan, I don't know about you. When I was young, I ain't practiced no defense. It was like, yo, throw that ball, and I'm going to try to hit as far as I can. That was basically that was only baseball work we would do, right? It was just us kids.
Yeah.
Them dudes out there, one kid was out there. These dudes was running. Half of them had gloves. Half of them had the paper, the milk carton, whatever. Was practicing diving. And I'm talking about with the glass. It was a little piece of grass, a little patch over there, and it was getting that work in. And I was like, and they practicing defense, diving into fields that I guarantee they getting cut up with. I don't know what is in that grass. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. And I was just like, I'm just looking at them. This is years ago, 15 plus years ago, and I was like, yo, that's why they so nice, man. That's why they so good out there. I was like, we want to hit. We want to go out there and practice and dive and play. Defense into the grass that ain't even grass. It was just crazy. So I'm like, they built for this type of stuff.
But that's the thing, is that when it means something to you, you figure it out. That's the thing. If it means something to you, we all grew up in the city. People put those cartons up on light posts and shooting baskets. When it means something to you, you're gonna figure it out. And I go back even at Bayonne High School. Adrian is a legend at Bayonne High School. Tamika's seen it. It looks like, a big school. It's a big school, but we didn't have the resources like workout and, coaches specific workouts and so on. And I remember times where I would just come home from doing something, running steps, running all, around the stadium, Now I look back and I'm like, well, I was a wide receiver. I probably shouldn't have been running 4 miles. I probably should have been running sprints, or I should have been running this or doing this. I look back now, I'm like, well, maybe I probably should have did a little bit better. I should have found something that was specific to being a wide receiver. But the key was I was out there working. I was out there doing something, and I think that's the message I would get with these kids is, yeah, you got more opportunities to see drills on TV and see drills and websites and stuff like that, but don't let that affect you and your work. Get out there and do some, whether, like you said, those cats in Dominican diving with gloves on and that's because it means something. If it means something, you're going to get your butt up and get out there and do it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's a great segue into to winding it down because we could be on here forever. And I see Tamika, you over there and hawing, so I know it got some valid points that people made. So I'll give you the opportunity to give some closing remarks, and we'll take it to basketball because I know that you have your stepson and you're trying to figure out creative ways to get them outside and do different drills. What kind of drills can kids do for basketball, being outside, even if they don't have a basketball? There's so many different ball handling drills. There's so many different passing drills that you can do up against a wall. There's different types of running activities that you can do. Jump rope. Talk about some of those things that you have your stepson doing right now that could help some kid who thinks that, oh, it's over for me, but it's really not, because there's always work.
I think the big key word that I heard is resourceful. In this time, you got to be resourceful, and especially in the sport of basketball, you really do not need a basketball hoop to be. If you're struggling, for example, with if you dribble great with your right hand but not your left, this is a perfect time to get out there and pat that ball with your left hand. Just everything you do try to do with your left hand and get
Absolutely.
good at doing that. So just little things like that is something that you can take. All you need is a driveway and a basketball. You really don't even need a basketball. You just need a ball. Get out there and pat. You could pat a volleyball, whatever it is that a tennis ball.
Absolutely.
I that's how I was able to get my handle so tight. I was dribbling with a tennis ball, just to try to maintain the speed of the dribble and things like that with a little ball. And then when I got a basketball in my hand, it was like a cakewalk. So just little things like that. Be resourceful. You can get out there. Cardio, it shouldn't be an issue because you get out there and run on the streets. Get some work in. Try to run a mile. Now they just opened the tracks here, so you can get on the tracks now and do some track work. But there's a ton of different things that you can do to kind of pass the time while this is all going on. And I think kids today, it's so much given to them that they're not resourceful. When they don't have that trainer or whatever the case may be, or that person coming and pushing them, they don't know what to do. But we never had that. I never had that. Give me a basketball. That's all I needed.
Yep.
I'm gonna get out there and try to figure some things out. So I think if these kids could be a little more resourceful, get out there, I think things they'll be okay. But you gotta start somewhere.
Yep.
Absolutely. And our parents made us get out. Our parents didn't play with us. They like, get up out of here. You up out of here. You're not gonna stay in this house. You better get out. There ain't nothing to do. You find something to do. Go kick a
All
can.
day.
Don't care what you do. There's a lot of stuff out there for you to get creative. So, going back into the day, that's how it was done. And I think that a lot of people are going to have to take that mentality where they're going to have to tell their kids, hey, listen, you're going to have to figure it out. You can't figure out every single waking moment for them. They have to get out there, get creative. My whole basketball thing started, on the rainy days, man. I got excited about it because I knew that I had my basketball hoop that suction cupped up to the door. And if I didn't have that, I had the wired hanger. And that
Yeah.
way I just closed the
That's
door.
right.
And then I had the sock. Boom. I was killing jumpers. It started with a sock with me. So
That's it. That's it.
we can get creative out here. It's not like you can't do it. So, wrapping it up, give these kids some tips that they could do out here in these streets. Stop playing.
Yo, I love what you're saying right there, and I think the key. I think a lot of it, we I've trained kids for many years now, and it's funny. Now I could speak from baseball mainly, but like kids don't like. I'm dealing with my own daughter now with this, but it's like they don't. I know on every Saturday and Sunday when I was a kid, right? So Monday through Friday, I was talking about the other day. I stayed outside. Like my mother used to say, yo, I used to work. Like I used to go out and like as soon as you come home, change clothes and like yo, you used to play like you was going to work. You know what I'm saying? And then on the weekend, I'm talking about my football. From I never hung with my boys, especially when I got to be like that 13, 14-year-old. I was absorbed in the game. I watched college football all day on Saturday and NFL all day on Sunday. All day. Nobody could find, you know what I'm saying? Nobody could talk to me or whatever. And I see like my daughter, I see some of these kids I train, they don't even watch the game. They don't even, I'm like, who your favorite player? Who you mimic your game after?
Exactly.
I don't know. I just kind of I'm sure y'all know. Growing up,
Yes.
y'all was in the TV. Y'all was like, yo, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna practice MJ's fadeaway. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead. And Dr. J. Behind. Like it was all of those type of things. But now these kids, it's like I think it's so much information. I'm saying, yo, y'all on YouTube. I'm like, y'all got the YouTubes. Y'all got. I said all the. You can watch every game on your on your freaking phone. I'm like, y'all not in the game. I said, yo, it's all about, I said, y'all need to, and I tell my daughter, I tell these kids, I was like, go find a player who you like and go outside and mimic them. And I was like, forget all these private instructors because I'm one, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, yeah, we ain't never had no damn private instructor, you know what I'm saying? My eyes was like, yo, I want King Griffey's hands. I want Dave Justice late kick. And then we go outside and practice with my boys out there and put it together. And I was my own hitting coach, but we was out there every day getting it in. So my advice to these kids is like, yo, go mimic somebody that you see. They all watch the game, well, in basketball, football's a little different. They're going to watch it a little bit more, but they see it and go out there and mimic what they do. You know what I'm saying? To your best ability. Go, right now they can go look at LeBron's, and whoever's fade away. And, I watch, I'm a basketball fan, but not like that. But, from a basketball standpoint, baseball standpoint, swing, anything like that, go out there and mimic them dudes out there. You know what I'm saying? That's my best advice. Just go find a player that you roll with. Go out there and mimic what they do out there to your best of your ability. Right now. You can do that right now,
That's great advice. That's great advice. And then it leads me to Carlos. Carlos, I mean, what can you say to, some of these Spanish kids out here that are trying to make it in baseball? Maybe their only way out, that may be feeling discouraged right now because the season is over. What can they do right now?
In the baseball, it's about consistent. Everything you do in baseball, you gotta be consistent. And then when I learned after my career, after hitting coach job that I have with the Padres, is you gotta go every day and hitting like 25, 30 baseball off the tee. And you gotta put in your mind, so I gotta 30 baseball, I want to hit it like 25 line drive. You got to put that in your mind every day. So doesn't matter if you day off, you back to Dominican or whatever, you got take the tee, take a 30 swing and hitting 25 line drive. Got to put that in your mind. This is very good. Every swing you take, think about this is the game. This is tie game in the 9 innings, so I had to hit in line drive. That kind of, the mind that you put in, the drill you do, this is very good for a baseball player. So that's what I think about, and I say all my players that I coaching.
That's
I
a
think
very
that's
good.
a
That's a
great
very
part.
good
I
answer.
think that's a great point, Carlos. And what that tells me is the attention to detail. I've been watching. You hear some basketball players, Adrian, you and Tamika might know when you are shooting, how many, challenging themselves on if you wanted to hit the rim or just the net, or how many in a row you can make. Carlos, you're talking about line drives versus ground balls versus, hitting it to the right side, over the second baseman's head, gap to gap. That's to me where when you start seeing talented people, where we all seen a whole bunch of talented people, but the people that get into those minute details are the ones that become great. And just tightening the screws on different drills like that can make a huge difference between a basic hitter and a great hitter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Dana, I'm going to ask you to take us on up out of here and give us some football tips to a young guy that's out there right now throwing the football, catching the football. Give him some healthy drills that they could do right now to be that world-renowned wide receiver out there.
Well, I talked to y'all about football, but I'm ready for some baseball now. Come on, D.
Look.
Got me a few cuts
That
left.
look, hey, that bat look too clean right there. It look like it been used. That look too good right there.
No, I got the used one up there, man. I got the used one. I ain't none broken.
That day look brand new. You better go give me one of them C271s from back in the Helena days. That's what you need. Go give me one of them used ones over there. That's pretty.
You tear nothing up in the house. You all bored over there, start tearing stuff up,
I
swinging.
know, man. They got it. My wife don't let me keep this stuff handy too. She ain't here, so I can't get yelled at.
Oh, that
But
what it is? Is that what it is? Well, once
I will
again,
say,
you guys,
from a
go ahead.
to answer your question real quick, from a football standpoint, um, just work on your craft. It's one of the sports that you can't work on by yourself. Basketball, baseball, you can do a lot of individual things. Football can be a little bit tougher especially if you're a wide receiver. But there's footwork drills that are out there, quickness drills, catching, like Tamika was talking about, dribbling with a tennis ball, catching with the tennis ball, one-handed, no looking, one eye closed, one eye open, challenging yourself in different ways with basic stuff while we're dealing with this pandemic.
Yeah, that's good. That's good advice. We're gonna take it on up out of here with that. I want to say once again, you guys, it's a fantastic panel. Tamika Dixon, Danan Hughes, D. Brown, Carlos Sosa. Any relation to Sammy Sosa? I always take it out with the Sammy Sosa.
No.
It's all right though. I talked him up so much that I got a Sosa on the show, and that's good. I'll take Carlos any day. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you. Right?
Thank
Nice
you.
to meet
Good to
y'all,
see you.
man. Take care.
Thank you. Nice
All
to
the
meet
best.
you.
Likewise.
Good seeing you, cuz.
Nice
All
to
right.
meet you
Take
guys.
care, y'all.
Okay,
All right,
I'll
y'all.
get in touch with you guys.
All right.
All right, Meek.